everybody, welcome to the Discovery Space. My name is Tarryn, and today for our National Science Week activity we are going to be looking at deep sea creatures. They're pretty exciting. Do you know of any deep sea creatures? Any animals that live in the deep ocean? Some of them are really strange. And scientists who work in the ocean or who work in museums or who work in lots of other areas spend a lot of time trying to study the animals that are in the ocean and find out more about them. And we know lots about animals that we can see in the ocean, like fish we can see, dolphins, sharks, but when we go into the deep dark ocean, we don't know that much about it because we can't even get down there, it's so deep. So here's a picture of some scientists studying the deep ocean, and do you know how they do it? They can't even go down and swim down, it's too deep. They send down special robots to look and take photos and collect specimens for them, and that's how they find out a lot about what lives under the ocean. Now I want you to imagine we're going down under the deep sea. What do you think it's like down there? No, we're going past the waves, we're going past the coral reefs, we're still going down, 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 really far to the very bottom of the ocean. It's pretty deep. Oh, if we look around, it's dark. No sunlight can get through all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. So it's completely dark for the animals that live there. There's not much food down there, so the animals have to be very clever to try and find food to survive. And we'll have a look at how they do that in a little bit. There's not much light, so some animals have to make their own. It's very, very cold down there, very cold down there, because no sunlight there to keep them warm. So it's a very strange place that these scientists are finding out about. So today we're going to find out about some of the interesting animals that live there, and then we're going to design our own deep sea creature. So we know how scientists might study the animals. They might send down their robots to collect some samples. Here is a picture that was collected by one of them. It's a very interesting animal. I wonder if you know what it is. It's got lots and lots of arms and legs. Oh, this is actually a type of sponge. You may have found sponges out washed up on the shore. They are a type of animal that lives in the ocean. And this one has got very, very fine little hairs sticking out of it that helps it to collect food. So the food gets caught in there, and you can see it lives on the ocean floor. That's a very unusual creature, isn't it? It has to sit there and wait until food comes to it, and then it collects it to digest it. That's very interesting. So it doesn't move about very much. So another type of animal that you might know of that lives in the deep sea is an anglerfish. Have you heard of an anglerfish before? An anglerfish has a light bulb at the front of its head. Maybe you've seen Finding Nemo and you've seen where they turn on the light and see a big set of jaws. That is an anglerfish. This one here is a strange one. This is called a hairy anglerfish. And this fish, like all other anglerfish, has a little light bulb on its head because remember it's dark in the deep ocean, so they need some light. And the light helps their food. Their food sees, oh, there's something that's light, swims on up, and then big jaws are waiting for it to gulp it up. But it's only got teeny tiny little eyes. I wonder how the anglerfish can see anything. It's dark, so it's only got small eyes, it doesn't really need them. Instead, this anglerfish, the hairy anglerfish, has all of these little hairs, again, just like our sponge, that helps it to sense what's around it. Okay, it's a bit like cat whiskers. They know what's around it with their big hair. And that's what this has here. So that's our hairy anglerfish. And I want to show you a really special hairy anglerfish and tell you a bit of a story about what they eat. Can you see this one? This hairy anglerfish had a very big meal. Can you see how big its tummy is? It goes all the way around there. Oh my goodness, I wonder what it ate. So this one was actually studied in a museum, and they didn't want to cut it open to have a look at it because they're very precious. We don't know much about deep sea animals. So what they did is they did a scan of it and they could see what was inside. Would you like to know what was inside? It's pretty cool. You ready? Look at that. This is the anglerfish jaw and its backbone. And here, this yellow skeleton is its dinner. There's its eye and there's its backbone. It went straight into the anglerfish mouth and got curled up in his tummy. And do you know how long this one is? This one is twice the size of our anglerfish. So that's a bit like you opening your mouth and swallowing an adult, or someone even bigger. Could you imagine doing that, swallowing your mum or dad? Ugh, I don't know if I could fit them in my mouth. But anglerfish have big mouths with big teeth to help them catch their prey. So this prey here probably saw the anglerfish's little light bulb and went, ooh, what's that? Straight into the anglerfish mouth. It's a pretty good way to find dinner, isn't it? That's the story about anglerfish. They're pretty cool. I think they're really interesting. Now, some of the other interesting animals that live in the deep sea have really interesting ways of clinging onto their food, because there's not much food when it's dark and cold. So when they find it, they want to cling onto it. And this is a frill shark. It might look a bit different to some of the sharks that you know. Here it is. And it has very special teeth. It has lots and lots of teeth. And those teeth are really big. And they point backwards. See all these rows of teeth? So as soon as something gets caught in it, the teeth grip into it and it can't move anywhere. So that frill shark has got a hold of its food and it won't go away. And there's another animal that's very interesting, you've probably heard of, that lives in the deep sea. I wonder if you can guess what it is. It's very big. You might even say it's giant. It's got 2 long tentacles and 8 arms. And it also has a big fin in there too. Do you know what I might be talking about? Some people think a kraken might be based on it, if you've heard of that. Do you know what it is? That's right! It's a giant squid! Giant squid live in the deep ocean. This is a very special picture that was caught by some scientists on the top of the water. We don't normally see them on the top of the ocean, so this is a very special picture. And do you know what this is here? This is the giant squid eyeball. Giant squid have huge eyes. Because remember I said it's dark in the deep ocean? Our anglerfish didn't have any eyes because it thought, I don't need eyes, I've got all those hairs to help me find out what's around me. Well, our giant squid doesn't have any hairs to help it find out what's around it, but it has huge eyes to gather in as much light as possible. And do you know how big those eyes are? Do you want to have a guess? Do you think they're the size of a tennis ball? They kind of look it, it's bigger. It's actually the size of a dinner plate, about 25 centimetres. I've got a plate here, this is just a small one. That is about how big the eye of a giant squid is. Isn't that amazing? You can probably see pretty well with that. It's almost as big as my head. And giant squid can get really long, up to 14 or 15 metres. Pretty amazing. They live in the deep sea too. I have one more thing to show you about our giant squid. Remember I said that those frill sharks, when they grab hold of their dinner, they don't want to let it go? Same with the giant squid. They have special suckers on their tentacles that grip hold of their food. A bit like this. They've got all these little teeth around the edge, little serrations, a bit like a very sharp knife. So when they get it, it hooks in. This is from a colossal squid, and it's got real hooks on the end. So when it gets its hooks into its food, it turns and it can't leave. That's a good way to make sure your dinner doesn't run away, isn't it? So all those interesting animals that live under the ocean, the very deep sea. We've got the giant squid, the anglerfish, the frill shark, and there's so many more as well. They have to make sure that they can somehow maybe make their own light or have big eyes or hair so that they can tell what's around them in the dark. So they have to be able to do that, and they have to be able to find food and hold on to it when there's not very much. So those are 2 things that's really important for deep sea animals. what we're going to do today. We're going to design our own deep sea animal. So it's got to have a way to see in the dark, or sense what's around it, and be able to hold on to its food. And today I've used recycled materials for mine, which you can try at home as well. But if you would prefer to use Lego or clay or Play-Doh, you can absolutely do that too. Would you like to see mine? It's hiding in the deep sea. Let me go down and get it. There it is. Whoa! This is one that I started to make this morning. I think it's pretty cool. It's got a few features that I'd like to show you. It's got some hair, a bit like our anglerfish did, so that it can sense what might be swimming around it. It has got a gigantic mouth. So even here, it is the size of a sheep or a pony. Something really huge might be able to fit into the mouth of this animal here. But of course we don't want that food to get away. So it's got big teeth to chop down and close its mouth to keep its food in its tummy here. At the front, I thought these could be special sensors, so they can sense if something brushes past, and if they sense something, at the back you can see it's got a snap tail. So I think this fish might sit on the bottom of the ocean, waiting for food, sitting waiting, and when something brushes past here, very quickly, its tail snaps shut, it moves forward, and it closes its jaws on its food. And then it's got a full belly and can sit and eat. Yum, yum, yum. Now, the only thing that is kind of missing, I think, from my animal is I didn't add any eyes to it. Now, we know that some animals in the deep sea don't have eyes, and that's okay. It is dark, so maybe they don't need them. But I think I might like to add some eyes to mine, so I'm going to do something a bit different with them. I thought maybe I would use some bottle caps for eyes. So they're pretty big eyes, but I kind of think if they're on the side here, they might be able to see all the way around. Or I could put them on the top and they can see up. I wonder what would be more helpful for an animal in the deep sea, to be able to see around or to see up. I don't know. What do you think? Once I got this, my cardboard roll, I thought maybe I could attach my eyes onto either end like this. Oh, and look at this, it fits pretty well. Here we go. One eye on, and another eye onto the end here. I don't even need any tape to put these on, they fit really well. So maybe I could put my eyes, I might cut it in half and then I can stick them on. Use my scissors very carefully. I might stick them on like this, so that they're sticking out the sides, but really far out the sides, so they can capture anything around and anything on top or below. I'm going to use a little bit of tape just to add my eyes on and finish off my deep sea creature. I wonder what yours will look like. What sort of features do you think you would have on yours? Maybe yours doesn't have any eyes. Maybe it just floats. Maybe it sits on the bottom of the ocean. There are some really big crabs that live on the bottom of the ocean. Their legs are as big as this, wide as this desk up. Maybe yours will have big, wide legs like that. There we go. One of my eyes is on. Let me add my other eye. A bit of tape on. Sit it onto the side. Just like that. Whoa, that's a pretty unusual animal. But I think it would survive pretty well in the deep sea. It's got all these special features to help it to see around it, sense what's happening, and to find food and not let it go. Just like some of those deep sea creatures we looked at today. And do you know the best part? Is if you are a scientist and you discover a creature, whether it's in the deep sea or maybe it's an insect, whatever you find, you get to name it. So, when you have created and found your very own deep sea creature, you get to name it too. We would love to see any pictures of the deep sea creatures that you guys come up with today, and any names and any special features you would like to tell us about as well. So have fun creating, guys, and we really look forward to seeing what you come up with. Enjoy. See you next time.